morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is just a quick video in response to somebody persistently asking for a solution, the way forward. I've said on this platform that Zimbabwe is a failed state. And the individual has come back and said, okay, we know Zimbabwe is a failed state. It's water under the bridge. What is the way forward? Well, I've also said that one of the main reasons why Zimbabwe is a failed state is that we failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. And for 46 years and counting, we failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. One has got to ask, why in this day and age? Well, we don't even know, or the overwhelming majority out there don't even know what constitutes free, fair, and credible elections. The ancient Greeks, the people who gave humanity democracy as a way out of how to govern yourself, say that democracy as a government of the people, for the people, by the people, will only work if the said people are educated, knowledgeable, objective, and are willing to diligently carry out their most secret task to hold those in public office to account. We have not learned that. The individual who keeps asking what is the way forward, we told them you need to learn that. The people must learn that. They have got to realize that they have a secret duty to hold those in positions of power to account. If they're not educated, we must educate them. One gets the feeling that in this particular case, the individual was not asking for the way forward, not because he genuinely had not had the way forward, that we must have an educated, knowledgeable, etc., electorate. What he was asking really is, can he still have a healthy and functioning democracy without having to go through all that rigmarole of educating, making sure that people are educated, knowledgeable, etc.? The answer to that is no. If you think there's a shortcut, there isn't. One of the great American leaders, Frederick Douglass, was born a slave, and he became one of the abolitionists and a novelist as well, of renowned black leader. One of the things he said is, knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave. And I think what he was trying to emphasize there is not the superficial kind of knowledge, or knowledge one can consider to be superficial in the sense that you want to say, okay, I know that, but but in reality you haven't understood it. And in this particular case, we can distinguish the two as the master slave, the master mentality and the slave mentality. The master mentality, the distinguishing feature of it is the individual takes responsibility, believe they are masters of their own destiny. They value truth, reality, and being objective, etc. Because they know that if they do the wrong thing because they didn't pay attention, it wasn't the truth, they will only have themselves to blame for it. And so they're forced to be more diligent. Whereas the slave mentality, one tends to leave it to others, to the master, to know the details. And if what they wanted failed, they always have somebody else to blame for it. They're not masters of their own destiny. I think one of the problems we have in Zimbabwe is we have got people with a slave mentality. And this goes right across the board, from the political leaders in ZANU-PF, in the opposition, and to the people themselves. We have this slave mentality. We don't want the hard work of knowing the details, the truth, the reality. And at the end of the day, if things go wrong, we don't want to take responsibility. We don't want to say we are masters of our own destiny. I've often referred to Nelson Mandela as one of Africa's great leaders who had vision. One of the things that can be said about Nelson Mandela is that 2 or more years after South Africa's independence, when he was leader, he rarely, if ever at all, blamed apartheid for that nation's problems. This is in stark contrast to the likes of Robert Mugabe. He promised the nation Gustavo Gingi. And guess what? Right the day they finally buried him, at every opportunity, he blamed the British imperialists and their Western allies for Zimbabwe's multitude of problems. His scientific socialism was based on the belief that the nation can spend its way into prosperity. Of course, that was nonsense. But he never wanted to accept responsibility for it. One of the notable things that Nelson Mandela did was to truly believe that he has got to be master of his own destiny. And so the endeavor by Nelson Mandela to create a South Africa in which all South Africans were free, enjoyed their basic human rights and dignity, cannot be mistaken. He believed to be master of his own destiny, and he believed the nation should be master of its own destiny. Whereas the likes of Mugabe and his NOPF colleagues, they have always had one thing in mind. They had to have absolute power. If there's one thing that ZANU-PF thugs all subscribe to, is that ZANU-PF must rule until the donkeys have horns. Because they are special. They know best. And when they fail, they blame everybody else. They've never given the ordinary Zimbabwean the opportunity to be a master of their own destiny. Think about it. I'd like to give the last say to Morgan Freeman reading the poem which at least it was said in the film Victus that Nelson Mandela subscribed to, in which the closing line was to be a master of one's destiny, captain of my own ship.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I think whatever God there may be for my uncomfortable soul. In the fell collective circumstance, I have not cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of fate, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears, the looms but the shadow of the shade. Yet the minutes of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. Matters not how straight the gate, how punishment charged the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
There it is. Whether we like to admit it or not, Zimbabwe has been independent now 46 years. And we are the masters of our own fate. Why anyone, any nation at all, should struggle to understand what constitutes free, fair, and credible elections in this day and age beggars belief. And yet we don't. And that is the main reason why Zimbabwe is a failed state. And we are paying dearly for it. Think about it. Have a good day.